Andor Season 2 is just days away, but thanks to Star Wars Celebration, the story might start even sooner.
I came with you to be part of something. I give you everything!
With early screenings expected, there's a real chance those in attendance could see the first few episodes alongside Tony Gilroy and the rest of the cast before everyone else. And if that happens, we could be looking at leaks, tonal reveals, and massive shifts in how the season is experienced.
You want to fight? Or you want to win?
But more than that, Celebration would actually serve as the final farewell to one of the most grounded, impactful stories in the entire franchise. It's not just about what's next, it's about closing the book on something that changed how Star Wars could be told.
If it goes up in flames, it will burn very brightly.
Before we jump in, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to catch more Star Wars content, then you're in the right place. Now, with all that out of the way, let's dive into Star Wars Celebration 2025 and how it might reshape the rollout of Season 2 and what it means for the future of Star Wars. Let's get into it.
This is do or die. I'm thinking like a soldier. Think like a leader.
Alright, so Star Wars Celebration isn't just where announcements happen, it's usually where the franchise changes direction. It's the place Lucasfilm uses to set the tone, to test ideas, and to very much show fans what kind of Star Wars they're about to get next. It's not just trailers and teasers, it's decisions, tonal shifts, and creative pivots that always seem to ripple across everything that comes after. And it's not like this is new. Celebration has a track record of going big. They premiered the Obi-Wan Kenobi show there a few days early, back in 2022, and they also showed sneak peeks at Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and the Acolyte at the last Celebration in 2023. So when a release lines up this closely with the event, early access is almost a guarantee, and with Andor Season 2 dropping just days after Celebration ends, yeah, it's hard to imagine Lucasfilm not showing at least one episode, maybe even two, possibly three. But the bigger thing here, this isn't just about getting a head start on a story, it's about framing the final chapter, setting a tone for how fans are meant to experience it.
If it goes up in flames, it will burn very brightly.
Tony Gilroy is confirmed to be attending, and that gives this moment real weight because Andor isn't just another Disney Plus series, it's his vision. The pacing, the politics, the methodical storytelling, it all reflects his approach and his vision of what Star Wars is, with little to no interference. And when you factor in that this is the last season that Gilroy is stepping away after this, Celebration pretty much becomes part of that send-off. So really, this is where it starts to feel bigger, like the beginning of the end, not just for Andor, but this entire storytelling style within Star Wars. Celebration might be the last time fans get to experience this kind of grounded, political, slow-burning take of events. It's not about lightsabers or legacy characters, it's about people, and this Celebration could be where that tone takes its final bow. But yeah, this isn't just about fans getting a head start, it's about what those early screenings might reveal before the rest of us even press play. Because Andor, going by Season 1, doesn't really hit you with that big twist right out the gate. It builds mood, it sets stakes, and it really establishes the tone for everything that comes after. And if Celebration attendees get to watch 2, maybe even 3 episodes in advance, the ripple effect could be huge. We're talking tone leaks, reaction buzz, and possibly even major spoilers, especially if someone significant doesn't make it past, let's say, episode 1. And yeah, with this being Andor, there's every chance that a major character death happens early on. The kind of reveal that normally gets saved for a mid-season could be part of the opening arc. And all it takes is one tweet or one out of context reaction in the room to shift the entire way people approach the premiere.
Welcome to the rebellion.
Even if nothing concrete leaks, 9 times out of 10 the vibe does. If the first reactions coming out of Celebration are calling the episodes emotional or tragic or a goodbye, that alone changes how people engage with a story. You can't help but watch differently when the crowd who saw it first is already bracing for loss. And then of course there's the cast. Gilroy's confirmed to be there, Diego Luna's going to be as well. You can bet there will be questions about how the series ends. They're not going to spoil everything, but fans, as we all know, like to read into everything. A pause, a certain phrasing, a slightly too sentimental answer, those little moments hit all the more harder when you know it's the final season, because like, here's the thing, Andor might be the last grounded Star Wars story we get for a long time. The tone is already shifting with the Mandalorian and Grogu hitting the big screen and Filoni setting up his crossover event. We're moving back into big mythic Star Wars, you know, Force lore, iconic characters, sweeping battles, and Andor, well, it doesn't really do any of that. It's political, slow burn, raw, and with Tony Gilroy stepping away after this, there's no one else in the current lineup who's doing Star Wars even remotely similar. Celebration could be the moment that makes that reality sink in for both the fans and the franchise.
Call it what you will.
Let's call it war.
Now, one of the biggest shifts happening around Andor, and something I don't think we're fully going to feel until it's over, is that, as mentioned, this season is the end of the road for Tony Gilroy. And that's a massive creative loss for Star Wars. He's been involved in this galaxy for coming up to a decade now. First with Rogue One, where he came in to rewrite and reshoot large chunks of the film, and then with Andor, which he helped shape into something totally unique. From the political weight to the slow burn tension and layered character arcs, this is very his voice through and through, and while he's been pretty upfront that this is his final chapter, that's never stopped fans from wondering if there's one last surprise. Maybe a one-off movie somewhere else in the timeline, or maybe something a little bit smaller but in the same era. Personally, I don't think that's happening. Gilroy's not someone historically who tends to stick around long term, and he's always made it clear he didn't come in as a lifelong fan.
It's better to leave, sleep, do what you want.
So outside of Andor, he's not emotionally invested, but hey, this is Star Wars Celebration and crazier things have happened. Even if there's no project reveal, the fact he'll be there on stage with the cast closing out this chapter gives the moment some serious weight, because if this is really his goodbye to Star Wars, then Celebration becomes more than just a preview of what's coming. It becomes a send-off, not just for Andor, but for a specific creative voice that made this corner of the galaxy feel more grounded than we've had in years. Not to mention the projects with his name on are widely regarded as the best Star Wars to come out under Disney to date. So yeah, when you think about what's coming next with the Mando and Grogu movie heading to theaters, Ahsoka Season 2 on the horizon, it makes you wonder, is this the last time we're going to see Star Wars told in this type of way?
There is one way out.
Andor isn't just ending, it's very much closing the book on this type of Star Wars that we might not see for a long time. Like, this show never leaned on the usual tricks, no lightsabers, no chosen ones, no callbacks for the sake of nostalgia. It trusted the audience to follow a story that was political, morally complex, and built entirely around ordinary people. It was about systems, about oppression, and about how rebellion doesn't start with grand gestures, it starts with fear, sacrifice, and small acts of courage. And as the Mandalorian and Grogu heads to the big screen, it's clear that Star Wars is shifting gears again, back toward epic, back toward the mythical, back toward the kind of storytelling that made the franchise iconic, but also fantastical. Now, that's definitely not a bad thing, but it does make Andor stand out even more, because this series isn't part of some side quest or anything like that. It's central to everything. It's the bridge between Rogue One and A New Hope, the spark that lights the fire in a way that's deeply rooted in the politics, the fear, and the brutality of life under the Empire. No other Disney Plus show connects to the original trilogy with this much weight. Ahsoka explores the animated legacy, The Mandalorian builds a new mythology in its own corner of the galaxy, really, but then there's Andor, which is very much the connective tissue. It's the backbone of the rebellion, something George Lucas laid the foundation for but never had the chance to explore this deeply. And that's why Gilroy's contribution is so important. His writing is meticulous, his pacing is very intentional. His themes like oppression, rebellion, sacrifice are all handled with the kind of maturity that Star Wars doesn't always get the credit for. He brought a level of realism and restraint that grounded the entire galaxy in a way that made it feel real, lived in and dangerous.
When the day comes that those two pull together, he will be an unstoppable force for good.
So because this is the last season, with Celebration marking the beginning of the end in a way, it's not just marking the end of a show, but potentially the end of a storytelling style, a tone, a creative voice that reminded us Star Wars could still hit differently when it slows down, digs deeper, and trusts its audience to follow. Anyways, here's where things could get a little heavy, because it's not just about early access to episodes, it's what might actually slip out around the edges. Even if Lucasfilm doesn't show anything outright spoilery, Celebration always has a way of hinting at what's to come. A line in a panel, a throwaway comment in an interview, or even a short scene they screen for the room. It's subtle, but when you know it's the final season, fans are going to dissect everything.
I came with you to be part of something. I give you everything!
Could we see a clip that quietly reveals who might live and who doesn't? Perhaps we could get a line of dialogue where Cassian sounds like he's saying goodbye to someone. Or a character talking about sacrifice in a way that suddenly feels a little too specific. Even something like a Cassian-themed sizzle reel or a pre-panel memorial montage could be telling. All of it starts to feel like emotional prep, and fans pick up on that stuff pretty quickly. And yeah, we've seen this before, moments that felt like nothing at the time but ended up being huge in hindsight.
If it goes up in flames,
It will burn very brightly.
If someone like Mon Mothma says something like, I don't know, Luthen taught us what it really meant to resist, people are going to leave that room questioning even more if he dies, and if the episodes they screen at the event back that up in any way, the internet will light up with theories before the rest of us have even watched a frame, which isn't always a bad thing because that stuff's kind of fun too, but yeah, it could change the way people approach the season entirely. Even if they don't see the clips, even if they mute the spoilers online, just the tone of the reactions can shape expectations. If Celebration leaks describe it as tragic or heavy, that lingers. People are going to go into the premiere already embracing themselves, already assuming the worst.
You wanna fight? Or you wanna win?
So yeah, even if no one outright says what happens, Celebration might quietly set the emotional tone for Andor's final season. And for a show that's already been so focused on sacrifice and survival, that kind of shift could hit hard, especially for fans who have been riding with it for the last few years. So yeah, Celebration 2025 is shaping up to be more than just another round of announcements and teaser trailers. For Andor, it's kind of a soft launch of its final arc. It's not just a promo beat. It's the beginning of the end for what might be one of the most important stories told in this franchise.
It's a weapon. They're building a weapon.
And if we're being honest, it'll probably be the only real fanfare this series gets before it quietly disappears into Star Wars history. There's no third season, no follow-up project, just these final episodes and a brief spotlight at Celebration where fans will get to celebrate it, dissect it, and ultimately say goodbye to it. Whether anything major leaks or not, this could still reshape how people approach the season emotionally. If those early reactions are heavy or if the cast lets anything out, that's going to stick. And for fans of serious, layered storytelling, the kind that slows down and builds character, this might be the last time we see something at this scale in the galaxy far, far away. I honestly can't wait for Celebration this year. On paper, yeah, it seems a little quieter than the last one, but Lucasfilm always holds a few surprises close to the chest. And with Andor, Ahsoka Season 2, and maybe even the first look at the next Star Wars movie, the lineup could still be huge. Like they say, it's not about the size of the schedule, it's how you use it. Anyways, what are you hoping to see from Andor at Star Wars Celebration? As always, drop your thoughts, theories, and wildest speculations down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our last one, where we go more in depth about what to expect from everything else at Celebration. And don't forget to leave a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one, and may the Force be with you.